Well, there's no such thing as good intentions. We all just want a peace of mind.
Hello, everyone. This is Dante Suave, United World of Sports. This is my co-host, Mr. Jay.
What's going on, everybody?
All right. So I was networking a lot, so I didn't get to catch up on a whole bunch of stuff. But we are gonna go. We're gonna go ahead and get started. We're gonna start off with the college basketball. I did catch UConn and Xavier in the Marquette Butler games. Marquette, when they beat Butler, Butler had a better chance to win that game. They just couldn't keep Marquette off the boards. It was like it was crazy because it's like Marquette would miss a shot, and then either they was getting a second chance or they was getting a second and a third chance, and you not gonna beat a team. You not gonna beat a team when you letting guys do that. And then Xavier, I will give they do. They gave UConn all they could handle during that game. I texted you that night. I was sitting there, I was watching it. I'm like, this is a good game because Xavier, they like I said, they gave them all they could. They was scrappy. It was a nice fight. I mean, UConn came out on top in the end, but
if 7 degrees of separation works in sports, from what I witnessed, being at the UC Dayton game on Friday,
okay,
going into knowing that Dayton had just knocked off UConn, and then Xavier gave UConn fits, and then Butler was giving UConn fits. If UC plays defense the way that they did that first half of that game, consistently through, and they showed points of it, but I've not been to a college basketball game to where the opposing team did not have a field goal for the first 8 minutes of the game, did not hit double digits until almost 12 minutes into the game. And was just getting housed. UC's defense that first half was all over the place, and it was amazing to watch it. You wasn't getting nothing in. They wasn't getting no passes through. They weren't getting no rebounds. They were destroying them. And then the second half.
Okay.
In the second half, they went. UC upped their lead to almost, I want to say, 17, 18 points. By the time I had to leave, because I had to go pick up my kid from work, because in the game, okay, I'm sorry. If it's the East Coast, there's no reason why at a neutral site game, a game should be starting at 8:30 at night. I'm sorry. There's no reason. At 10:20, the game wasn't over, so I had to leave. It was still about 4 minutes left. I turned on 700 WLW, shameless plug, and went and listened to the game as we walked back to the car to go to the park and then drive back. By the time we got on 75, the game was over. But in that time frame, they had cut the lead down to 4.
Yeah. According to the box score, the second half scoring was pretty tight.
Yeah, they went and Dayton showed Dayton has their guard play is going to be what drives them. They have a guard Santos that is a beast. That he number 2 was a complete monster during that game. Number 11 is too handsy. I can't remember his name off the top of his head. Both of their other guards outside of Santos are very handsy, and they were getting in foul trouble, and they were getting called for holds constantly during that first half and part of the second half until the refs started letting them play. When they started letting them play, that's when they were getting away with it. That's when UC's turnovers started taking off. But UC. The only thing that I will say about UC is that I've never seen 5 alley oops missed. We just had this discussion about the pick and goes where they could just go, where you turn it into Lob City. Bandango for UC missed 5 alley oops. He either didn't catch it on the throw or he clanked the dunk 5 separate times. And he normally is good at it. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was just a depth perception from being in that arena, that scope of it, or whatever else it was. But it was to a point to where we were counting in the stands how many he was missing. And I want to say he actually, if you pull up his free throws, I think he made more free throws, which is not his strong suit, than catching alley-oops, which is his strong suit. It was, but all in all, for the entire game, I walked in after witnessing that game last year and witnessing Dayton blow UC out, and then also, I'm just another thing. I know it's a neutral site, but there's no reason whatsoever that Heritage Bank in Cincinnati should have more Dayton fans in the arena than UC fans.
Well, okay.
And this is where the only reason why I'm saying that is that I've gone to both. I started matriculating at UD. I used to get in arguments because if UC played UD and it was at UD Arena, guess where Jay was? UC side. I wasn't sitting with UD. Every other game, yeah. That game, no. When you walk in, and we had great seats. When I say more than I want to say it was 2/3 UD, 1/3 UC.
But that's how they roll, though. That's even how they was at the Maui Classic, though.
Yeah,
that's even how they was at the Maui Classic, though. That's like saying like with the Steelers.
Yeah.
If it got to the point, and I know you heard about it, where certain NFL teams, to make sure that they had home field, they would cut off the amount of rival team tickets that they sold to try to make sure that they had more home team fans in the stands than the visitors, because you got people like you got the Steelers, you got to be careful about the Raiders, you got to be careful Baltimore, the Cowboys,
Packers.
Packers. Yeah. So yeah, man. That if you just let the tickets online to be sold, you will look up and be like, wait, am I at home?
And the crazy part about it though was that last year when I went, it was the exact same way, but it felt like it was a UD home game. This year, it felt half and half, to where it was more UC. UC was louder, their fans were louder. And I think they appreciated that more because they played their hearts out. And for that team is now 10-1 because they won that one. Then they beat up on, I want to think it was Grambling on Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was.
And that one, that team, if that defense plays the way that they were, I can see why some of the people like Katz and Harbor have been saying, well, not Harbor, Sagarin have been saying they're a sleeper Sweet 16 type of team because they got the height, they got the speed, they have a combination of they love to drive and do alley oops, but they can also hit the three. Jizzle James, I want to give that boy another year in college. Jizzle James and if Rayvon Griffith steps into the role, that's the other thing. They said Dede Thomas with the law. You heard about the rule where JUCO college players, they ruled that their years of playing sports in JUCO does not count toward their eligibility in Division I college now. Yep. So if you play JUCO and you transfer to a Division I school, your 2 years that you did JUCO do not count against your eligibility in there. So you can basically come in as a 2-year refined freshman and still have 4 years of eligibility. So with that rule, their other guard, their backup guard at the one, Dante Thomas, got another year eligibility, which he might still declare, he might come back for it. But they'll have 3 guards that can shoot, can drive, and can defend in the next 2 years. So this year might be the start of it. Next year, if they get us established big down there, you might have a top 10 team next year on top of there. But Jizzle James showed that one, genetics is a wonderful thing, because his father Edgerrin, he's built like his father, but he plays basketball.
Gotcha.
And he balled out. That boy has a 3-point shot. He has defense. He was going up in the trees and grabbing rebounds, and he's all up, I want to say maybe 6'1", and was snatching them down. Him and Dante Thomas is their spark plug. He really he did something. He saved the ball and was telling the guy, no, he scored over one of the guys for Dayton and was like, "You cannot guard me. I don't know why you're out here." And you heard him loud enough to where you're 10 rows off the floor, and you heard him sit up there yelling at him saying, "You can't guard me. Why are you on me?" In that aspect of it, it got chippy, it got fun. It was a great game. But
okay, real quick, did you get to check out any women's games?
I saw bits and pieces of them on highlights, and then I caught the USC game. I want to say that was Saturday night.
Yeah. I didn't finish it, but yeah, I caught most of that.
Did you watch it?
Actually, no, I take that back. I did not check out that game because I was too busy checking out all the college games. Which, speaking of the college games, let's get right to it. Because we clearly got a lot to talk about.
Ooh,
so I feel like SMU, more Indiana. Even though I saw the final score of that game, but I was at a show, so I didn't get to actually see it. But I saw the final score. Here's the bottom line of it all. I have been questioning why a top seed plays a lower seed initially. We keep complaining about it, but what is actually going to be done about it? And then once you do something about it, what is that going to mean? Because either way it goes, you're going to have some games that you probably you don't want to see. So whether they play an immediate top seed and get trounced, or whether you have the lower seeds play the lower seeds and the top seeds play the top seeds, and then the best of the lower seeds play the best of the top seeds, bottom line, you're going to see it. You're going to see it either way.
But I'm over the Twitter finger, Instagram comment sports writers. And that's what I'll call them. Because my thing is this. The situation was, like you said, you can do high seed versus high seed, low seed versus low seed. Kind of had that. Remember when TCU all of a sudden came out of nowhere and they made the 14 playoff, and then they won their shootout game, and then they went up against Georgia for the national championship, and the next thing we knew, the next day after that national championship, we was like, why the hell was TCU even there?
You were saying that by halftime. Anybody that was
saying that by the end of the first quarter.
Yeah. Bottom line, you weren't saying you were saying it before the next day.
So when it comes to that aspect of it, you get to a point to where you're like, nobody is ever going to be happy. There's no perfect setup for this whatsoever. There will never be a perfect setup for this. For whatever think about it from this standpoint. We all get all drummed up and ready to go for March Madness every single year. And how many times do we actually get a 16-1? We've gotten it more in the past 5 years than we ever did. Our idea of an upset is 11 over a 5 or 12 over a 4. That's our upset. A 15-2 is just mind blowing, but it's rare. When they did the rankings for this, and I watched the entire time from the time the Indiana game started on Twitter, on X. I'm sorry, on X. Sorry, Ella. On X, on Instagram, the rambling. Indiana should have been in there. It should have been Ole Miss. It should have been Alabama. It should have been South Carolina. Okay, you're right. It probably should have been. But here's the reason why it wasn't. Because the teams that they should have won, they lost against. And that's why they got the 2 losses and the 3 losses. Let's call a spade a spade. College football schedules are normally set in stone 2 to 5 years before the actual games are played. You have literally seen where they will announce home and homes with teams 5 years down the line. And because it's a contract. You cannot fault Indiana for being 11-1 in the Big Ten with their only loss against Ohio State when the schedule, when all these big college conferences went football crazy and got gluttonous and had an unbalanced schedule. You can't get mad at that. So yeah, they had a whole bunch of the bottom feeders that was in the Big Ten, and when they went up against one of the top ones, they lost. Okay, but at the end of the day, they still was the number 2 team out of the East in the Big Ten, and they had only 1 loss against a team that made the playoff. So how can you get mad at them about that? But the crazy thing about that is you do that. SMU actually made it to a conference championship and lost on a hell of a play. They fought back in order to get there. But you put SMU, which is a Texas school, in the middle of Happy Valley, in cold, in snow, on their college campus in a whiteout. No team is going to beat Penn State in that aspect of it, unless their name is Ohio State. So what did you expect? What did you expect for that? This most shocking game that everybody should be questioning, did they deserve to be in there or not, was Tennessee versus Ohio State. Because Tennessee was ranked high. Tennessee had a chance to make it to the SEC championship, and they wet the bed. But they didn't wet the bed as much as Alabama did in that aspect of it. So if they didn't wet the bed that much, they got into the tournament because they were still high seed. And what did they do? They got waxed poetic by a team that had just got waxed poetic and got a flag planted in the middle of their field that started a fight that showed more fight than they did in their game. So what are you getting? What are you getting at? There was no competition. This is your typical first round of an NCAA tournament. You're going to see a lot of blowouts. You might see one competitive game if you're lucky. If it's chalk, it's chalk. And it was chalk. Now you get into the meat and potatoes in the next week when you start seeing the Oregons versus Ohio State. You see if Penn State can deal with Ashton Jeanty after Ashton Jeanty has been vocally pissed about not winning the Heisman. You're going to see those. You're going to see Georgia. Who did Georgia get? Georgia don't have Texas. Georgia got Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Notre Dame, thanks for coming. You're not going to beat Georgia.
You sure?
I don't think so.
Because they have been playing inconsistent. I'm just saying.
If they beat Georgia, I will sit there and eat crow from watching Notre Dame for all these years get to that point, and everybody gets mad because Notre Dame has the least path of resistance to always get into the bowls, and then they always show the reason why they have the least path of resistance when they get into those major things and they wet the bed. So if Notre Dame beats Georgia, if you knock off the two out of the last 3 year reigning defending national champions in their first game in the tournament, and it's a home game for them, hey, more power to you. But y'all going down to Atlanta. Y'all playing Georgia and Atlanta. Good luck. Good luck. Them boys in South Bend, them religious young men. Gotta love them. They're gonna go down there. They're going down to Atlanta, and it's gonna be New Year's, so you know it's gonna be swagged out down there. They better have a curfew at 8, because if they outside anytime after 8 o'clock in downtown Atlanta, them boys ain't coming back right. They ain't. I'm just gonna be honest. That's out of all the games.
If they was right anyway.
If they was right anyway. But the only games I want to see Oregon. And yes, next week you will see me in an Oregon jersey. I don't care if I'm from Ohio. I could care less about Ohio State. I'll rep Oregon to the death of me. I will be in an Oregon jersey because this is their time to prove it. This team, Oregon, has always been, as much as I'm saying that about Notre Dame, I gotta eat crow and say that about my Ducks. They wet the bed every time they get a chance. Literally, they're Ducks, I mean. But it's not. This is their chance. This is the most complete Oregon team I've seen in a long time. And if their defense comes to play, like they did in that first game, and they made Will Howard look like he was a junior backup quarterback in high school that just showed out in the next state championship game last time, then go for it. If they lose, will I be mad? Yeah, I'll be mad. But I mean, at this point, all this is for fun and games now. My only rooting interest is Oregon. So after that comes, I'm just along for the ride to enjoy the matches.
Gotcha. Yeah, okay. In Tennessee's defense, they basically were in a no-win situation because they were facing the team that, and I was talking to somebody about this today. They had something to prove because my Wolverines made them look bad, and they had to eat, and it's still on their mind because Ryan Day talked about it. It's been on their mind all this time. So one could question if they were even thinking about actually Tennessee when this game was coming up, or were they just stewing in the fact that my boys, my Michigan Wolverines, basically grinded out a win. They grinded out a wish upon a star. They lived upon a prayer, and it got answered this year. So that's the best way to put it, because I'm still confused about it, and the game was played weeks ago. But
and Tennessee did not play Tennessee football. I think Tennessee, the hype that was going on in the background, they was talking about, oh, we traveled a lot. We took over Ohio. We took over Columbus for the weekend. And then they got in there, and it was just like they were a deer in headlights.
Because they got smacked in the mouth. They did not realize what was coming. They did not realize that it's kind of like you going along, you a bully, and then you bully this one person, and they keep looking at you, and you're like, because you don't understand that they dealing with something, and you come along like yeah, we ain't worried about this, and it sounded like there was some arrogance there, and from the moment, and plus. What part of the arrogance might have been the fact that everybody been hyping up the SEC, talking about the SEC is the best conference anywhere. So that's got to be part of it. And kind of like when Miami lost to Ohio State in the one bowl in the national championship game. Instead of getting ready for it, they were partying with The Rock and Ray Lewis that weekend. Posted it all over whatever social media existed. It was all over Sports Center, and I'm just sitting back looking like, wait, what? Now, did the refs make some calls that was kind of like sideways? Yes, but bottom line was this: Ohio State still came in. They still punched them in the mouth. They still made other plays besides that one play that went in their favor, whether it should have or not. Ohio State still came in and punched them in the mouth, and they ended up losing the game. And I just sat back like, you know what? You deserve that. Because instead of partying all weekend, you should have been focused on the fact that it was Ohio State. And even if the SEC overall, they may have more teams that make them better than the Big Ten. You were playing one of the two that has had everybody screaming that the Big Ten is better than everybody in Ohio State. And I will admit that, even though I'm a Michigan guy, you got to respect you got to respect talent. At the end of the day, you got to respect talent. If you really being honest.
And I don't understand why Tennessee even remotely came in there that cocky when they were the fifth. Let's be real. If you look at it from the standpoint of what it was, you got Alabama that should have been higher. South Carolina came on. South Carolina had beat Tennessee. You got Georgia. You had who else was up in that aspect of it? And Texas. That's 4 teams right there. They were all pretty much better than you, and they knew it. And you got in because of the strength of your schedule outside of the conference, and you weren't even in sniffing distance of the SEC championship by the end of that season. So, for you to come in and have that, we're about to walk into Ohio State. Don't nobody walk into Columbus and actually think they're going to blow them out. That's why they went through the whole thing of flag planting, because it's one part of, we backed up all of our talk, and the other part of it is, we don't know if we're ever going to do this again, so let's do something memorable. That's what it boils down to. Tennessee had there's a difference between arrogance and cockiness. That was arrogance. Somehow, some way, they got arrogant, and they had no reason to be arrogant. So it's like, why are y'all thinking that y'all about to come in here and do this? Peyton Manning is not coming in that door, and Archie Manning actually would probably whoop y'all on Texas right now for the simple fact of y'all done disrespected the Manning name since he's been gone. So, what are you thinking here?
So. Last question, and then we'll move on because we got a lot to talk about. Matter of fact, we got stuff that we haven't been talking about that has been needing to get talked about. And I'm actually gonna switch my question because I was watching some previous footage and I realized something. I was supposed to you were supposed to have something to officially say about the flag planting, and we never got to it.
Darn, we didn't get that. All right, let's see here. 60 seconds or less. Stop doing the stupid stuff. There are certain things that and this goes to whoever's watching this, if you are a player, if you are the parent of a player. If your child ever sits there and says, hey, Mom, I think if we win this game, I'm going to plant a flag in here. Either be prepared now to either bail them out of jail or get them out of the hospital. There are certain things that you do that's about the integrity and the respect of what you're doing out there on that field. If the people that came before you did not have the audacity or the arrogance to want to plant their team's flag in the middle of an opposing team's field, you wouldn't want nobody to come into your house and put their feet on your couch. So why do you think that it's okay for you to grab a flag and plant it in the middle of the field? Do I blame anybody from Ohio State for trying to knock the players from Michigan's head off that was doing that? No, because if you would have did that to me in high school, if you would have did that to me in college, if you would have did that to me in a professional league, I will take the fine. I would take the suspension, but I would take your head with you because you're not going to disrespect where I've shed my blood, sweat, and tears on for my school, my team, my franchise, whatever else. Have some decency and respect out here. Right now, it seems like everything is about capturing the moment and being the viral sensation of it all. But do you know what the main thing about being viral is? The main concept of being viral is that once it spreads, it can kill. Stop it. There was no reason why there was 5 different games that had some type of scuffle, fight, police intervention, macing. Lucky they didn't bring out the tasers. Hey, they might even brought out the rubber bullets if they would have kept on, because that probably would have been the only thing they would have felt through their pads and stuff. For what? The symbolic nature of planting your flag in there. Most of the teams that actually was trying to plant flags had nothing else to fight for the rest of that season except for one ball. So that's what your whole season is gonna be remembered by?
Except ASU.
Yeah, except ASU. But is that what your whole season's going to be remembered by after that fact? You might have had a 10 tackle game. They're going to remember that you playing the flag. When you go to the NFL and they start looking at your whole record as a whole, and they pull up the fact of you demonstrated ill choice of direction or choice making by taking a flag and trying to plant it in there and setting off those things, you think that's going to make you hireable? Last time I checked, college football for most of these players is their last step before they go off into their careers. But for a few of you, it is an audition for you in order to have a career in the NFL, the CFL, the USFL, whoever FL after the fact. Might even play Arena League. Who knows? But it's still an audition. And that's the worst tape that you can have, is that you started a scuffle where you had to deal with the police on the field where you're supposed to be working. All right.
Gotcha. Now we got to move on because we got so much to talk about, because I did get to watch a lot of NFL football. So we're going to start off. Did you check out the Broncos-Chargers game?
No. Broncos? Sorry. You caught me eating.
Gotcha.
Broncos-Chargers game, I did not catch. I saw the highlights of it because where was I at? That was Saturday, wasn't it?
No, it was Thursday.
Oh, that was Thursday night. I was at work.
Gotcha. As always, it was a great game. The Chargers, I think, surprised the Broncos just because of the fact that, one, they had McConkey back, which nobody was expecting him to be in the game. I don't remember if Bosa was in the game, but defensively they surprised. I feel like they surprised the Broncos, but bottom line, it ended up being a really good back and forth game. I'm looking forward to years and years of Sean Payton versus Jim Harbaugh. That's going to be great. And I will say this, Chiefs, you may not have to worry about the Raiders, but eventually, more than likely next year, you are going to have to worry about the Broncos and the Chargers. You are. It's looking like it's inevitable. It was great. It was a great game. Did you check out the Bengals Browns game?
I saw bits and pieces of it. I told you I can't watch it.
Did you? Okay, so that is the perfect example of what I'm talking about. That should have been a blowout.
It should have been a blowout.
But
go ahead. I want to hear your start on it.
Mistakes offensively mixed with mistakes defensively. And they got lucky that they were playing the Browns, because if they were playing the Steelers, if they were playing the Ravens, if they were playing the Bills, if they were playing anybody but the Browns, the Jags, the Giants, they lost that game. That extra 24. I mean, as much as I hate to say it, Winston might have made that game better, even with his potential for the interceptions. I hate to say it, But I feel like the young guy basically got thrown into a situation, and the Browns looked worse with him as opposed to how they might have looked had Winston been in the game. Because yeah, you might have known the interceptions was coming, but you know for a fact some touchdowns was coming too, which would have made that game so ugly.
One, the reason why the Browns went with Dorian Finney-Smith is they don't want to pay. They didn't want any more footage on Winston to where Winston could sit there and say, hey, when you cut Watson, can I get some of that cash and stay on as your quarterback? That's one. That's how Winston thinks.
That might be part of it, but I'm gonna tell you this: the past couple of weeks, he's been throwing interceptions and touchdowns. That's why they benched him.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. The other reason why it was so easy for them to do that. Look at the stats from last year. When Cleveland beat the Bengals, Finney-Smith was the quarterback.
Okay.
So they thought that they could catch lightning in a bottle again. What they failed to realize was last year they had that, and I want to say Chubb was in the backfield, and they could not contain Chubb.
Yeah.
Now, Jerome Ford came back to Cincinnati, where he went to the National Football Playoff with the Bearcats. Came back in, showed out. But everything that you said,
and he had a fumble.
Everything that you said, if this would have been any other team except for the bottom feeders, that would have been an L. Because you can't sit there and let a team on the opening drive go all the way down the field to where you luckily punched the ball out before you crossed the goal line and got that back. As soon as they drove down, because I was transitioning in to go down into my office area and go watch Red Zone when the game had kicked off. It doesn't make sense that Red Zone kicked off at 1:05, and by the time I got downstairs at 1:10, I'm sitting up there screaming at the thing like, how in the heck are they at the 1? That's how fast it was.
Right.
And then just as fast, they did that. And I give Burrow his credit for that one because he took them all the way back down the field and got them a touchdown. So it was a complete 14-point swing in that aspect of there. But in between there, like I said,
that right there, that's why I said this was a pivotal. This fully explained why the Bengals' record is a record, and it ain't all the defense, and that's all I was saying.
But
this is a perfect example.
That was a perfect example of it because they should have put him away. Burrow with the fumble towards the end in the fourth quarter where he was trying to run when he spun away, and the guy they started to scout that. That's your move of how you get away. So what he did was when he saw him get ready to start that pivot, instead of him following him that way, he stopped and met him where he was pivoting at, and that's what made him get that fumble.
Right.
The ball security was not there. The lapses in I give a little bit of grace because you lost Mims again, so you shuffle the offensive line again. And you had a lot of procedural penalties off of there with that. So I give a little bit of grace to that one. Because
but they've been having a problem with that. That's another. But that's part
everybody
of,
across the board though.
True.
NFL too. So so it was because that came up, and I will get into that. That came up in the Niners game heavily because Pearsall cost the Niners that game because he had a couple of plays where he did not because he hadn't been in there as much, and he kept on lining up wrong, and they was getting them. They was as soon as the ref came out there.
Yeah, and we're gonna talk about that because I heard about that today, and it made me create a question. But I definitely want to get to these other. I want to get through the other games.
But this is why the close out on the Bengals. This is the reason why I said when everybody's sitting up here. Cincinnati, I'm a Bengals fan, but I am the oxymoron of your Bengals fan. everybody with the Bengals is hopeful to a fault. I'm a realist. I honestly sit there and say, Denver's coming in here. They to move that game into a Saturday, because they know that if whoever loses that, their path to the playoffs is going to be a little bit more difficult. So, and that's when the Bengals sit up there. They somehow miraculously pull it out. They'll probably pull that out, but then you got to go to Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh now has something to play for because the AFC North still might be up for grabs. If they go to Pittsburgh and they wet the bed, season's over. And that's what I'm expecting. Would I like to be proven wrong? Yes. But after 38 plus years of living this life, I expect for us to get us to right here, and then Lucy pulls the ball out from underneath Charlie Brown's foot, and we go, and fall flat on our back.
All right. Did you watch any of the Vikings?
Yes.
I was mad because I ended up I missed like half of it because I didn't realize that Fox Sports had a game on, so I was watching something else. Oh, I was listening to something else because I was working. But that ended up that felt like a playoff game.
It was.
That felt like a playoff game. Shout out to Darnold. I've been saying it to people for years, and people have been telling me I'm crazy. I've been saying all you got to do is put a halfway 60. I feel like his line is like 50 to 60%. Mm-hmm. And you give him just that enough time, and then at the end of the day, it's decision making on the QB's part as to whether or not how successful you are. That's my opinion of it, and that basically gives you the difference. But I knew the Sam Darnold that is playing for the Vikings right now, I knew that it was always there by watching him. So yeah, that was a game. That was a game that could have went either way. They made a lot of questionable decisions.
Yes.
I'm sorry, and I'm gonna make this a hot take. Going for it on fourth and going for two is the 3-pointer of the NFL. I said what I said. I don't understand it. And I'll give you a perfect example of how crazy it's getting. And I'm essentially going to move on to the Sunday night game in doing so. Because it's a perfect example of people doing stuff that don't make no sense. So, Bucks, Cowboys. I knew that the Bucks were going to have an interesting night when while only down by 3-0, they went for it on fourth. And then they did what people in short yardage usually do. Hey, I got a 4th and 1. Hey, I got a 4th and 2. I got a 4th and 3. I'm going to throw it 20 yards downfield instead of making sure that I get the first down. That's only 3 yards away. That's only 2 yards away. That's only 1 yard away. Even if you have to pass it, somebody go 1 or 2 yards, get past the line to gain. Boom, first down. Then if you want to throw it downfield all day. That was mistake number 1 that the Bucks made. Mistake number 2. I love Baker. I looked at him. I saw the potential in him in Cleveland. I laughed at Cleveland when they let him go because they waited until he got his act together and started becoming a better quarterback in the pocket, and then they got rid of him. I laughed at him when they did that. But moments like last night, because they should have won this game.
They should have won the game.
But with 6 minutes left, he gets a first down with the rookie. Then he ends up on 4th and whatever. No. No, he gets the first down. Then the immediate next play, he tries to go back to the rookie and ends up throwing an interception. You had plenty of time. You had 6 minutes left. Why did you have to have? Why did you have to have that moment then? You could have killed more clock, worked your way down, and I know nothing is guaranteed. I mean, he might have caught that ball if he caught that ball.
How about the one where the guy rolled over him in the end zone and intercepted?
Yeah,
I would see the only thing with that is that when you got one-on-one out there with that and no safety help, you gotta take that shot.
no,
Because
not. The way all of that looked, there was nothing about that scream that was gonna work. Because even when I watched it on the replay, I'm like, dude was like literally just all up in his grill.
Yeah.
And he's a rookie. Now, if you were doing that with Evans, okay, take the chance. You're doing that with the rookie, and he had already dropped a few passes during the game. So, no. Statistically, in that aspect of it, at least in my mind, I'm not making that throw. Like I said, we can agree to disagree, but he was already off. The chemistry clearly wasn't fully there. Yeah, he made a couple of passes here, but he also dropped a lot of passes and missed a lot. So unless that's Evans.
Yeah,
I'm not making that throw.
Yeah, and I get that. I just think,
especially when you could kill more clock because Dallas had clearly come to play and had something to prove. So kill some more of that clock.
and see, and that's the only thing that I will say on that one, because I did not see that play. I saw the tail end of that play on the highlights. I didn't see that play live, and I wanted to take a look at that one. If I would have had a chance, I wanted to take a look at that on all 22. And see how that played out in that aspect of it. Because to me, I agree with you. I would have took the shot there in that aspect of it. The only thing in my head, and knowing how Baker has been playing more conservative than what he has in the past with that aspect of it, was that was the only thing that had a shot at being open. And they had undercut, because Dallas's defense, if they were in that shell that they had been in, anything short was probably covered, and when he saw that there was that safety had came down into the box and left it one-on-one, he took the shot. That's the only thing I can sit there and say.
But every time they scored, it was on even the quick ones. Mm-hmm. He was doing checkdowns. Like even that one after where it ended up getting to 24. That's what it was.
Yeah,
it was check downs.
And that's what I'm saying. I think that was one of the ones where when he went to go do the check down, he didn't have a check down and saw that single high.
I felt like, because it happened so quick, because as soon as he went height, he went for it. And I'm like,
that's what I'm saying.
And I'm like, because I had my phone. Yeah, I was driving, but I had my phone like sitting right here, so I was able to I think I was sitting at a light when it happened. So I looked down at it, and he went height. 1,000, 2 1,000, woo! I'm like, bro, you ain't went through your progressions that quick. I'm sorry. I hate to doubt your quarterback acumen. You did not go through because that's what you wanted. He got you the first down, so I felt like he was trying to get him a touchdown for making that awesome play and getting him the first down and extending the drive. And then he's like, "Oh, I got you. All right, I got you, bro." And it blew up in their face because he didn't pay. I felt like he had a moment where he thought more about hooking up the rookie than paying attention to the fact that, hey, Dallas has come to play today. So even though you want to make this dynamite play, you're not making it to Evans. You're making it to the inconsistent rookie. So
that's why I was like, when it happened, I was like, wait a minute, what the heck happened?
Right.
In that aspect of it, because I was trying to catch it. And I think I just found it on all 22. So I could see what it was. Yeah, he did not.
I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you, bro. Because I thought I was going crazy too. And then they showed the replay. And I'm like, dude,
Okay, I'm just going to, and this is another shameless plug. If you have the extra, go ahead and sign up for NFL Plus, because all 22, going back, if you ever have any questions for it, to see these plays, and where you don't hear no announcers, nothing else. You're seeing the entire play with everybody on the field doing that aspect of it. On this play in particular, Baker went back and just went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, took a 5-step drop and threw it straight ahead. He didn't look nowhere else. He didn't try to look anywhere else. He just threw it. That was a mistake, because you didn't even try to look off the safety at all. And that's where I was under the impression, because I just saw the tail end when he caught. So it was a miraculous interception anyway, because he rolled over him and took the ball out of his arms while he was rolling over him in order to take the ball. So I give him that one on that aspect of it for what he did in order to get it. But in the same token of it, that safety, if you would have looked over to your right just a little bit more, that safety would have been thinking, if there was any type of route that was in there, he might be going in the flat, or he might have been going on an up and out route to the sideline. Let me peel off, and I got help on the other end. That help didn't come in there. He would have had a wide open shot at him. He did nothing of the sort. He just went, okay, I'm going to go.
That's what I'm saying. The rookie, I felt like the rookie got them the first down, and then I felt like he just wanted to hook him up, like let me get this young man a touchdown.
But even with that being said, you can get him a touchdown on a quick slant and let him just beat him in the speed aspect, because he outruns everybody. So that's why I'm like, why would you? Now I'm with you 100% on that. Why would you take that shot? There was no reason for you to take that shot.
Just like and you know what? I'm giving kudos. Screw what they said on the facility. Yes, I'm giving the Cowboys kudos because they've been playing. They haven't been looking like they've been playing great. And there was something about Dak going down, Cooper Rush coming in, and now all of a sudden, everything that you hear from the Dallas players and everything that you see from the defense, all of a sudden, they playing hard now. Mm-hmm. They was hitting last night. That was another reason why the Bucs was having issues, because some of them drops was because people was getting the brakes knocked out of them as soon as they laid hands on the ball. They instantly dropped it because the hit came. Baker even led Mike Evans into a really bad. Oh my God!
Mike Evans always gets hurt.
He got racked. He got racked. The rookie got racked. Yeah, the Dallas Cowboys and that defense and Michael Parsons.
It might have took him walking off the field after that Bengals game in order for him to just like really lock back in, because he was playing like a shell of himself over the past couple of weeks as well.
No,
he would get his runs. He had it where he would get his runs.
He was getting this. I felt like I saw more effort from him. Like I said, when Dak went down, and then all of a sudden people started really questioning him. It felt like even when they interviewed him, the way he talked, I felt like everything kind of changed at that point. And you sit up there and you watch the game, and the defense was actually playing hard. If you go back and watch them games, you know how you could see effort?
Yeah.
I felt like I saw more effort after Dak got hurt. And then people started really questioning if McCarthy was going to get fired. Then all of a sudden, Micah comes out where he said, "Look, that's beyond my pay grade." And then all of a sudden, he was like, "You know what? McCarthy is our guy." He said it the week after Dak said it. And I'm sitting up here and I'm watching games. I'm like, they look like they playing harder.
But that's the whole reason why I said that about that. That goes back into my conversation about the Bengals. That defense for them always plays hard. That's why when I saw how they reacted after that play happened at the end of the Bengals game, I can understand their frustration with that. But the Bengals, I see them do a routine play, and they up there like, unlock this guy down. And then the next play, it's, where's my help? What happened? That's why I'll be sitting there getting frustrated with them in that aspect of it, because I'm like, you can't sit up there and do this one time, and then 3 other times you either get ran over, ran past, or look like you look like a kid, look like a 4-year-old out there in the middle of a soccer field when the ball's getting dribbled right past them. Oh, I'm supposed to go after them?
And then, I'm sorry. Okay. What cost the Steelers? All right. One, they need somebody other than Pickens to step up consistently. Russ needs to get a better chemistry with the tight end, because the tight end is no slouch. The other part, Russ
showed.
Why in God's name, when you know we
are in week 16.
Week 16, you know that these players is racking quarterbacks whenever they can. Why did you not slide?
Wait a minute. Mr. Sierra didn't slide?
No, and it led to a fumble.
Of course.
And the Ravens turned around and scored off of it.
Of course.
Just like when the Bucks went for it on 4th and 3, you only down 3-0. And then the Cowboys turned around, took it down. Now y'all down 10-0 because you went for it on 4th. Like, dude, you only playing. No offense to the Cowboys. I know I just gave them their props, but at the end of the day, you're not playing the Lions.
No.
You could have punted and had your defense come out, give them a stop, and then got the ball back. Some of it is decision making.
It's always decision making.
See, some of it is decision making. That's why I say, if you actually watch the game, you can't completely just blame. It's not only one side. One side might be playing better than the other one, which that's what's going on. Clearly, what's going on with the Bengals. The offense is more consistent than the defense, but we've always known that.
Yeah.
Even me, who is not an official Bengals fan, has always known that. And I tell people that are official Bengals fans that, and they look at me like I'm a hater, but then they refuse to explain why what I tried to tell them ends up being right in the grand scheme of things. And contrary to what people think, people say, because you know how they say, well, if you speak something into existence, that's what happened. That's what they keep saying about the Bengals and about the Cowboys. No, it's the consistency or inconsistency of the players on the team based upon what kind of standards are set, what type of personal standards are set by the personal athlete.
It's when it comes to that, you speak it into existence crap. Let's be you can't speak certain things into existence. I give you that one, but the Cowboys haven't been to the Super Bowl since '94. The Bengals have been to a Super Bowl since then. The Cowboys is just blatant. Hey, we're going every year. What does Stephen A. say at the beginning of every year? This is our year. We're going to go to the Super Bowl. We're going to bring it home for Jerry, and we're going to make this. We're going to come back. It is America's team. And then by week 7, I just wish that we just gotta play better. That's what we gotta do. We gotta play better. Dak is gonna do Dak things. You know, we paid him the money, so he's supposed to lead us to the promised land.
Come on, man.
But I mean, I done had Tony Romo after Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman's still doing Fox News. Is he just still doing the games? I mean, no, he ain't even with Fox anymore. He's with ESPN. Can I get Troy Aikman back? Because I liked Troy Aikman when he was my quarterback. That gave me a bet. He put me at ease. I ain't like Tony Romo. Like, Tony's with CBS. I thought he was with Fox. He with CBS. What about that guy that's with Fox now, Tom Brady? Can he come back and be my quarterback? Maybe that might bring me a championship at Big E before I keel over. Who knows? But yeah, it's not. It's the fan from Fanatic.
And speaking of, for everybody that's been trashing him about being all in, and yet he didn't do anything in free agency, there's two ways to be all in. The one that you guys are talking about, where you felt he should have been doing something in free agency, and then there's the other one, where you a boss and you looking at your workers that are currently on your payroll, and you like, you know what, we all in. And basically, if I don't get what I want out of the people that are here, a lot of y'all ain't gonna be here next year. And he didn't stick with it. And I got a feeling that might have been because of his son. Because remember, the reason why he got rid of his son, the reason why he got rid of T.O. was because of the son. Because as he put it, he got tired of going to family dinners and arguing with his son. Because not only did the rest of his front office want T.O. out, but his son even wanted T.O. out. And it was like when he couldn't even sit down and have a family meal because his son was like, "Dad, get rid of T.O. Just do it. Just do it now."
Wait. So is that just like the Johnson kids that told their father not to get the player because of his Madden rating?
Well, if you were, if you were,
I heard it all when I heard that. I'm sorry.
we'll have to talk about that. But real quick, remember when after Cooper got in, and after I say this, we got to end. Remember after Cooper came in and they lost that first game, and the reporter looked Jerry in the face. Jerry looked at him and said, "What are you talking about? Are we seeing the same game? The team has played better with Cooper than they did with Dak. I didn't even want to give him that contract, dude. I almost wrecked my car." I almost wrecked my car because I was out working, and I almost wrecked my car when he said that. I'm like,
but that is the quintessential deflection that Jerry Jones has been known about. Because at the end of the day, does your son sign the checks, or do you?
But he does get influence, and somebody, if he didn't want to sign that contract and he signed it, that means that he had people behind the scenes telling him
They did with Romo. Ain't that the same thing they did?
Well, no, that was different. Yes, it was different because he was literally going to the podium saying Romo is my quarterback. Romo is the guy that's going to get us to a Super Bowl. That's the difference. He wasn't doing that with Dak. And,
so when you have learned
he
better,
did not want to.
Would you have learned better after you sat there and you hitched your wagon to Tony Romo for all those years and didn't even sniff a conference championship? And then you started
kind of hard. It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to do that when you got people criticizing your decisions, and then you got your family behind the scenes.
I got the spaceship that they call AT&T Stadium. I don't care about what nobody think about anything else except for what Big Jerry wants. I'm 88 years old. I will kill over before they die. I'll let anybody tell me what to do with my Cowboys. Come on now.
Okay. All right. All seriousness, we've had fun with this, and this is great. Oh yeah. Shout out to Southbound Beretta. Saw them in concert with my boy's Enemy Friday night, and also shout out to Grandmama. Yeah, Larry Johnson when he was in Charlotte. And with that, I'm Dante Suave. This is Mystah Jay.
Everybody have a great and wonderful Merry Christmas, and we will see you guys before the new year next week with another episode. And yeah, that's it. I'm done because I think I messed up my voice doing my invitation to Jerry. Later.